Okay friends, last night I had a dream about a study abroad program that I did about 9 years ago, and it reminded me about my very favorite breakfast that I had in Mexico. It was in Tulum, and I just remember the breakfast. The first morning everyone got there and there were about 30 of us, and the options were like a Mexican breakfast or an American breakfast, and I think probably 95% of us chose the American breakfast because who doesn't love pancakes and bacon and eggs? But we all saw the people come out with the Mexican breakfast, and oh my heavens, the next morning when we had the option of choosing American breakfast or Mexican breakfast, everyone chose the Mexican breakfast because it was divine. So I got up this morning and I thought I have to make homemade tortillas. And I'm not going to make an elaborate meal like they gave us, but I'm going to do some eggs and some leftover ham that we had from dinner last night, and eggs and ham and cheese in a homemade tortilla because that just sounds delicious to me for breakfast this morning right now. And if you have not made homemade tortillas, you are doing yourself a disservice. They are so easy and like 400 times better than any store-bought tortillas. So we're going to make them. All you need is flour, salt, oil, water, and some recipes do baking powder, some don't. But the recipe that I'm going to follow today does do baking powder. I think they just make them puff up just a little bit more. But so we're going to get out all those ingredients, and then we'll just whip them up real quick. Okay, first we're going to get the flour, and again I'm using kamut. I use kamut for everything unless I say otherwise. Oh, I'm doubling this because there's no way that only 6 are going to make it till the end of tonight. So, 1, 2, 3. I wanted to have some left over for tonight so that we can have something, have tacos for dinner or something like that. I first made homemade tortillas with my Mexican roommate, and I was so surprised by how easy it was that I was like, I'm going to make these every time because they're so delicious. I don't make them every time. If I'm going to put tortillas like in a recipe, like make enchiladas or something, I don't make homemade tortillas because it's just, it adds a lot more time. But if you're going to eat something where the focus is the tortilla, then 100% worth it to make homemade tortillas. So, okay, the recipe tells us to mix it up till there's pea-like crumbles in there, and that's pretty much what we've got right now. Maybe they're a little big. Water. It's just basically as hot as I could get it out of the tap. I didn't put it in the microwave or anything like that. See, that was fairly easy for the dough, right? All we got to do is knead it for 4 or 5 minutes till it becomes elastic, and then it has to rest. And then that's it. I think that the best part about homemade tortillas is that you're almost guaranteed to have all of the ingredients on hand at any moment. And it's very simple. Kids could even do this. I tell you, those ladies that knead everything by hand, I love my Bosch and I love that it kneads stuff, but it's only been 4 minutes and ooh, I can feel it in my arms. Okay. Okay, it's been 4 minutes, and this is what the dough looks like. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like Play-Doh. That's the texture of it. We're gonna put this in a bowl and let it sit for 15 minutes, and then we can roll them out. So I'm just gonna put it back in the same bowl. I'm gonna spray this a little bit so it doesn't stick or dry out. And then that will just rest for 15 minutes, and I'm gonna make my eggs and ham and cheese to put in. It's been about 15 to 20 minutes now, maybe even closer to 30. So this is what the dough looks like. There we go. Nothing, looks pretty much the same. But that, when we let it rest, it lets all of the flour get hydrated. Ooh, look how, ooh, doesn't that look so beautiful? It's so silly, I get so excited over dough. But I have my cast iron. It is hot and ready. It's piping. I actually turned it off because I didn't want it to get too hot. But I did oil it up really well because I haven't used this cast iron in quite a bit. And you know, like with everything, with pancakes, you know how with everything, the first thing that you do never really, like the first pancake always gets burnt or underdone or something like that. I'm trying to avoid that by having the cast iron really hot. But we'll just see how the first one goes because it's always a toss-up. So this, I doubled this recipe, so it should make about 12. Get these into balls so that all of the, there's probably more than 2 ways to do this, but to make a ball, I just put my hand like this and I'm kind of pushing the dough, rolling it in between these 2 fingers right here. Let's see if I can just rolling it back and forth like that, and it makes a pretty good little ball there. Or I know some people kind of like push it through their hands and then just kind of pinch it at the bottom, which I have done that before too, but I prefer this because then the whole ball, there's not like a weird form at the bottom. So we're just gonna make all these into little balls. Okay, there's a couple ways that you can roll these out. One of the best suggestions that I've seen, oops, I turned on the wrong burner. That is typical for me. Okay, one of the best suggestions that I've seen is using a grocery bag. So we're gonna cut this off. We want 2 similarly sized squares. If you do, plastic wrap will not work for this. It is not, it will just be a sticky mess and it won't, whatchamacallit, it will tear, it's not strong enough. So here we are. I'm gonna cut these off. I don't know what the difference in plastic is, but these seem to work really well. And I have my dough ready. So you do not want the ink side touching your tortilla, or it will come off. I have had that happen before and it was very surprising. So I'm gonna put the ink side down. I'm gonna put one of the balls of tortilla of dough in the middle. I'm gonna put this other one on top, and then we're just gonna roll it out between there. The hard part, the hard part about this method is that this moves, everything moves. So I kind of try to hold it with something. I have taped down this before and that works pretty good. But I'm just kind of holding it with my body and then pushing away, because then it won't separate and it won't move as bad. You do try to get these as thin as possible. I like thin tortillas. Okay, and then this just easily comes off. So nice. Okay, we'll see if this is ready. Well, I know it's hot, but we'll see if... Anyways, we'll see. How... Okay, the other way to roll out tortillas is with the tortilla press, which is my preferred method because it is way less time, but you still do want to, if these are not well oiled or anything, you still do want to use this plastic because it makes the cleanup so easy. Let's see if that, then you just close it on there. Press it. Ooh. That one was kind of thick, so let's see if we can get it thinner than that. Squishing out the sides. That made, whew. I think if I want to use, oh, you couldn't even see it, awesome. Anyways, I think if I'm going to use a tortilla press, I'm going to make them about half, the balls half as big, so that they're just tiny tortillas. Because right now this is too thick for me. That's too thick. So I'm going to roll this one out with just the plastic, and then if I want to use this tortilla press, I'm just gonna take the balls and cut them in half, which I'll probably do. But I think I need to turn that up just a little bit. I didn't want it to be too hot though, so don't want the ink part down, because I don't like eating ink. Don't know anyone that does. So soft and pliable, just, ooh, that's really hot still though. Woo. I'm gonna have to wait for a second. We're just gonna go. That was worth waiting for. I was going to just eat something really quick for breakfast, but I'm glad, so glad, that I waited, made these tortillas, which didn't take too long, and had these for breakfast because they were worth every minute of waiting.